Now, the first quarter-final of the 2018 FIFA World Cup has kicked off. France is taking on Uruguay for the right to become the first semi-finalist of the tournament. And in studio, I'm now joined by Simon Burke from our sports desk to give us heads up on the 2018 World Cup quarter-finals. Simon, thanks very much for joining us.
You're welcome. But I'm going to be watching with one eye because Griezmann's up. He's about to take a free kick. So we're just going to monitor that.
All right.
And France have just scored. There we go.
They've just scored.
They just have scored.
And it had to be Griezmann, didn't it? So 1-0.
No, Griezmann to Varane. There we go. The Real Madrid.
This match in particular, it's really hard to call because Uruguay is strong in defence. France are great going forward.
Uruguay, incredibly tenacious team, doing absolutely everything they can to win. It's a fine line, and the South Americans know how to tread it, probably going over a little bit. But against this French team, an incredibly talented French team, a lot of firepower, strong at the back, you know, everything you need. And this could well be one of the sides to keep an eye on, although they're going to get a very stern test from Uruguay. Uruguay unbeaten so far in the World Cup. So that's, you know, that speaks to their pedigree.
All right, so this game, 1-0 so far, France, still a long way to go. It's still the first half.
There will be twists and turns, and as we've seen in all the matches in the World Cup.
That's the thing about this World Cup, is that the teams that are there now, Russia we didn't expect to be in the last 16, did we? But I suppose being at home might have tipped them over.
I don't know. I don't know. I still can't call the Russian one. They should have been gone long ago. I don't know how they got to where they are. But they have, and it's an incredible story for the host nation. And it's incredible to see that Russia has adopted this World Cup. And there's been no adverse incidents. It's just been about the football. That's what we think, though. I mean, what kind of stories are we missing? But everything looks like a fairy tale so far for Russia, and everyone's getting to know all the cities and places that no one's ever been before. I mean, England are off to Samora, and you know the fans have all had to book flights and thousands of pounds to get there because it's out of the way, but also obviously the demand for you know, the England fans to get there. But yeah, it's been an incredible World Cup and not one that anyone could call.
All right, well, let's talk about the other quarter-final. And some people would say this would have been a great final itself. Belgium seemed to be the form team. That 3-2 win in the
against Japan, yes, coming from behind.
Brazil, 5 times champions. Again, another one that's hard to call because on paper you might say Brazil, but Belgium can show up.
No, I know what you mean. You can't ever write the Brazilians off, I mean, except in that semi-final 4 years ago. But Brazil, they find a way. If Neymar can, you know, just kickstart something at some point and avoid getting kicked or, you know, avoid the phantom limbs that keep failing him at this World Cup, which is frustrating and which probably doesn't bode well for their, you know, karma because you've got a very good and a very accomplished Belgian team with stars everywhere, all over the pitch, and they seem to be gelling. Could this be the test that they, you know, that they can't get over because they almost tripped against lowly Japan?
Wow!
But they rallied to come back, and there again, there's another story. You know, it was that the test this team needed to push them further.
And they've got the right mix of players this time around, and I think experience and youth.
And they have to cash in on this generation now because we've been talking about this Belgian generation for a while, and they haven't delivered. So this is the chance. And we saw with England, you know, the golden generation left and then they picked up the pieces and came back in another story. This Belgian side needs to capitalize when the going's good.
So tomorrow, the other semi-final, quarter-final, Sweden versus England. Now, England have been banging on every World Cup since 1966. But there's something about this group of young players.
Well, yeah, there is, and it's been ever since the World Cup began. You kind of figure there's no pressure on this England team. You know, England had browbeaten the English into submissions to the point where they just didn't believe anymore. You know, it was like, well, it's another tournament. Let's see when they duck out. But this little team has managed to pull together, and they've got sound leadership. I mean, Harry Kane, you can't fault the guy. You know, he prepares so well. He's a consummate professional, and he's got a bunch of players also, not from designer clubs. You know, they're from Tottenham, they're from Leicester. And they're going places. However, have they been tested as well yet? Yeah. Have they had that stern test yet?
Sweden will be the test, but it'll be interesting to see. We're going to have to drop it there for the time being. But the quarterfinals underway, Uruguay and France. Griezmann has scored 1-0.
No, Griezmann didn't. He supplied the assist.
Who scored?
Varane.
Ah, there you go. Varane scores. France going into the second half, I think. Is it still the first half? 1-0 up, but we'll keep a tab on that match for you. And don't forget, a little bit later on, Brazil versus Belgium. I wouldn't bet on anybody there. You just don't know.